everyone. Welcome to FreeThinker's Fireside. My name is Helen, also known as House Bells, and this is the channel where we have put the human in humanists, one cozy chat at a time. And I'm welcoming back secular rarity again. Yay! So let's all say hi to Elliot. Hi,
Elliot.
Hi.
How are you?
Welcome to the stream.
Yay! I'm excited to be here. I always love hanging out with you, and
I know.
you have had some really great people on in between when I was on the last time. So I'm glad to be back.
I know all the good people. I know all the cool people.
You do. You have lots of very cool people. You also know me, so it's like all the cool people and this one guy, which is nice.
The thing is, though, you hang around with me, so you're 20% cooler. So you get that boost.
It makes sense. Honestly, it makes sense.
It's science. This is science. So, say who you are, what you want to talk about, that whole shit.
Yeah. I'm Secular Rarity. This is how most everybody knows me. I'm also Elliot. It just kind of depends on, when you catch me in the week, I guess. But I am here today to talk with you about this new nonprofit organization that I've been working on and building here in the Nashville area with a bunch of really cool people. And just kind of, talking about what that organization is and what it's going to do and just all the fun stuff we got going on. So 2025, I know for many reasons is a bummer. Just already, it's written off, I think, right? I think we can just go ahead and put the whole calendar in the trash and say it kind of sucks, right? That being said, okay, with that depressing start, I will say I do actually think 2025 is going to be pretty big for atheists and humanists and secular people. I don't think we're not going to go away without a fight. So there's going to be a lot of us that are making quite a lot of noise regularly. So yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about, I guess. And we'll just, we'll ramble our way through it and just kind of weave in and out through things, and who knows where we'll go. So there's always a fun
the thing is, though, like, we have a topic, but then if we go off and talk about some other shit, that's fine. Like, there's no rules. Right, when Neil was on, we talked about Legos. So it's kind of random shit.
If I knew more about Legos, I would talk about Legos.
He just showed me his Legos. Right, he was showing off his stash. I could show you like all my D&D stuff and my Cthulhu collection, but I'm not going to do that right now.
But yeah, I mean, we've got some really cool stuff that's going on in this next year in a lot of different ways. One of the biggest events we've got going on this year, we are thrilled about, is the Nashville Nuns Convention. We are bringing it back, y'all, and we have already some truly incredible people that are part of it. The info is out there, and so you can find your tickets and come hang out with us in the middle of
July. Which reminds me, send me links so I can put them in the doobly-doo.
Oh yeah, I probably should have realized to do that.
That's okay. I forgot to ask you, so bad host on me. So
but I don't know. Do you know who Catherine Stewart is? Do you know? You ever heard of her?
I know the name.
Yeah, so I know the name. She is freaking awesome. She has written a couple of books on Christian nationalism, and has recently published another one. Her first one was Power Worshippers, and I'm blanking on the other one right now, but it like just came out. So it's not too, it's not too bad on my part. But she is awesome. She's going to be there. We're very, very thrilled for that. We are super, super excited, of course. The man, the myth, the legend, the golden pipes himself, Seth Andrews, is going to be there, of course. Absolutely nice. Awesome dude. We are thrilled that we already have an incredible lineup of people, and we've got even more that are going to be there. AHA's vice president Candace Gorham going to be hanging out with us. She is awesome. If you've never had a chance to interact with her or hear about what she does, just absolutely awesome people. And that's not even half the people. That's not even half the speakers and stuff. So that's one of the biggest things we got going on. And that'll be at the end of July this year, which is super great. It's an awesome time for us to gather. Be a whole weekend. We're
Hmm.
um, basically taking over this whole state park out here in the Nashville area. So it'll be awesome. It'll be freaking great. But in between then and after that, we still need to do shit. That's the thing.
Are you saying we
There,
need to do stuff?
right? I mean, we absolutely have a lot of opportunities for us to get together and
Hmm.
to commune with each other, and that is a big part of what we're doing with this new organization. So the new organization is Secular Rising US. Kind of a play on words there. It's secular and then rising and then US, but secularizing
Ah,
US.
I
Yeah,
see what you did there.
yeah. See, I know. I was thinking.
I see what you did
Yeah, I get
there.
I get a good idea like once every 5 years, so it'll be a while before I have another one. But we
Well
thank
done,
you, thank
sir.
you, thank you, thank you. Um, we got we got all the socials, and we're putting some stuff out on that as we speak. So definitely go check all that stuff out. Shout it out to your friends and stuff. We are working on the website right now. The website is one of the big things that we want is a one-stop shop for everybody in this area to find their people. You know, we know that there are lots and lots of really good groups and events that are already in this area. Um, whether it's the Benevolent Friends down in Murfreesboro, whether it's um, the Murfreesboro Freethinkers, whether it's the Humanist Association Nashville, whether it's Recovering from Religion in Nashville, Sunday Assembly. We have, a good almost about 10 different groups in this area. And probably I'd say probably 80% of the non-religious, secular, humanist, skeptic, those people in this area have no idea those groups exist. Probably 80% of the people in this area that would fall into that camp, And it is it's so frustrating to see on a regular basis um more and more religious institutions, more and more religious opportunities and community events and stuff, and to not have an opportunity for those of us that don't want to participate in that way, right?
Hmm.
Look, if you want to get together and you want to sit around with friends and you want to read the Bible and you want to, that's your right. Do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But where where would you go right now if you're in Middle Tennessee, if you're in the South? Where would you really go to to have a specific secular event, to have a space where for a fact nobody's going to ask you when the last time you went to church was?
Right.
Um it just really doesn't exist, and both of us are deep here in this area, and we know that there's 5,000 churches on every drive any which way that we go, and unfortunately um there just isn't a space at all for the non-religious. So that's what we're trying to do. We're gonna get a calendar going where we have regularly updated and maintained events, all the different opportunities in your area, and all the different groups that are hanging out and stuff,
Yeah.
as well as just providing a space, just having that venue is our long term goal, so that we can actually host these events. If you think about the size of an average church in this country, um, the building is actually pretty big. They oftentimes have their main sanctuary, which can hold, a couple thousand maybe, and then they have, a bunch of other classrooms and smaller presentation rooms and maybe another little eventy space or whatever. Like that is a moderate to low level sized church in this country. And that's wild
Right.
to think about, because off the top of my head, like there's maybe 4 or 5 places that I can think of that are secular buildings, right? Atheist type
Unless you
buildings.
went like to like a community center or something.
Right.
Yeah,
Other than
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that, right? I mean, really what comes to mind is the fucking headquarters for these national organizations, like the
Right?
headquarters
Yeah.
for FFRF. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, that's a secular place, but like it's not like they're hosting potlucks. It's not like they're doing
Right. Yeah.
philosophy nights there.
They're
Yeah.
not having like a book club,
Right. It's the
Yeah.
headquarters for a business. Like it's
Right.
and no fault to that. That's what they're doing.
No.
Like they're doing their thing. That's great, Um but how do we fill that gap, you know?
Mhm.
How do we plug in people that are desperately wanting those connections in those spaces? And I think there's an answer, and I think this is it. You have an organization that is dedicated to connecting and supporting atheists, humanists, and
Mhm.
secular people. So yeah, that's what we're doing, and we've got a bunch of cool stuff that's going on in the Middle Tennessee area. Next, or I guess this coming Thursday. So in the next few days, we're having um, our February event for the Conversation Coalition, just a group that
Nice.
we started over a year ago. Atheists and Christians coming together and cordially talking about the most challenging conversation topics in life. Everything that would get you kicked out of a Thanksgiving dinner with your family. So we
Oh,
come and do
awesome.
that. Yeah, it's great. It's a super fun time. It's very friendly. It's very engaging. Um, but yeah, it's not about yelling at each other. It's not about name calling or anything. It's specifically about trying to understand where the other person's coming from. So, um, yeah, all that good stuff going on. And at the end of March 31st, we have a big mega stream that we're doing. We're bringing on a bunch of people and just hanging out and talking about the cool stuff they do and promoting the organization and just trying to raise some awareness and some funds and just help kick this thing off with in the right direction and with the best foot forward we can. So,
Yeah, let me know and I'll give you money.
hey, we can absolutely use it. I
I
promise.
will I
It's
will support you with monetary
you know
capitalism.
it is so frustrating that um that is honestly one of the just time and time again, that is one of the biggest things that prevents our side from being more effective. And it is so frustrating that it is that fucking simple, but it is. They will spend $5 billion for the "He Gets Us Jesus" campaign, and
Yeah.
and and that is effective. It gets out there to people. It is, unfortunately, it is a method that works, and it is very difficult when our side is up against that. We have to be much smarter with our purchases. We have to be much more frugal with them. We have to pay attention to every single penny and where it goes on our side, and are constantly asking for more, which sucks. Like nobody really wants to be doing that. Nobody really wants to be like, "Hey, give me a bunch of money," But That is what churches are doing on a daily basis. That is what these religious institutions are doing constantly. And because of those monetary donations on a regular basis, that is what makes them able to fund all the shitty things that they fund.
Right. And well, and that's the thing, because just working volunteer for two secular organizations, and just raising money is always the thing. Like, that's why I like doing fundraising. I do, because I like rallying troops, and I'm very good at that. But but also at the same time, I wish I didn't have to, because it's not built into the system. Like, if you're a part of a church, it's built in. You get, everybody comes in on Sunday, you give money to the offering plate, or there's a big sale, or like the money's going to flow in, because you're guilted into it.
Right.
With us it's more like, hey, we want to do this thing, this is what we do, can we please have your hard-earned cash, please? Thank you. But also at the same time, like, we're gonna tell everybody how terrible religion is, and we'll help you out, and we'll help you find community. So that's like, so, which is a harder thing to sell to people, because like, especially if you leave like high control groups, getting them involved in a group is like, they're like,
yes.
So
there's a lot of us on the non-religious side that struggle to have that same level of structure and organization, for a lot of really understandable reasons. It is completely understandable why somebody coming out of those much more high control groups doesn't want that again, right? And is very cautious about those spaces. I absolutely I just want to say I absolutely understand those feelings, and I don't fault anybody for having them. I don't want to tell anybody, those feelings aren't valid. What I do want to say is, if we refuse on the non-religious side to participate in similar types of structures for organization, we will always be on the back foot. And that's just the truth of the matter. Like, I wish it were different. I wish the situation were something that didn't require this level of effort, right? This level of organization and this level of planning and stuff. It would be great. It would be so much better. Do you know how much more fun so many people's lives would be, right? But it does, because the other side is very, very organized. The other side is extremely structured. And it's not to say that we have to start using their tactics, right? No, not in the slightest. We can absolutely maintain our principles and our moral composure, right? But we cannot continue to think that there's something in the air that'll just spread to everybody magically. That's not how it works. It takes organized campaigns for weeks and months and years. It takes years worth of planning and structuring so as to effect change for a long-term basis. Like, that's what it takes. Where we are today, unfortunately, is in large part because of a plan that started in the 90s. And I'm not making that up. That's public documentation. We know about these organizations that actively went for a particular section of the country, right? And said, here's how we're going to capitalize on this. Here's how we're going to get all of these people to be paying attention and saying our talking points. That's what they did. And they spent 20 years doing it. Now, again, it doesn't mean we also have to use underhanded tactics. Yeah,
30
well,
years.
right. 30. I
30.
guess you're right. I guess you're
Everything's
right.
20
Got
years
it.
ago.
No, I
Everything's
know.
20 years ago.
I know. It's just, it's
20 years ago is 2005.
God, gosh, that's so weird.
I know. I feel, trust me, I graduated high school in 1996. I feel old. So let me tell you that right now.
Yeah, I just don't
But
want to. I don't know. I don't.
we're
wanna
not going to
admit
think
I'm
about
getting
it.
older.
We're not going to
Right,
think about
right,
it.
right.
But this is the thing though. Like, you know, it started, they started playing that before it, but it was the 1990s that they kind of really used the media to push the narrative. They were doing it in their churches, and they were doing it, like, you know, and there's little small social groups and, you know, town halls and, you know, that type of shit. But you know, at the more, especially with the internet, they and media became more monopolized. They just kept pushing narratives and narrative, and it's no wonder people are just, and like, I understand that, because if you're like, let's say you're like 33 years old and you're a mom and you got 2 small kids and you're religious and you can watch so much news.
Yeah.
And you're not going to seek out different sources. You're going to fall into your echo chamber.
Yeah, I mean, you got shit to do. I totally understand that, right?
Yeah.
And I get why it is so difficult for people to even engage with a lot of the non-religious kind of statements and talking points and so forth, right? Because so much of it oftentimes feels like a direct attack to the identity of who they are, right? And I understand that. I'm not, you know, I that's oftentimes why, you know, I take the approaches that I take, right? To try to, you know, smooth that over a little bit and not have those defenses up as much. But even still, it's a tough conversation for somebody to have, where, you know, their most cherished beliefs for as far back as they can remember in their life, a lot of times, are being scrutinized very intensely, right? So I get that. I get that why people don't exactly want to step into that space, you know? And that's why we have to have structure on our side, because what we need is billboards. What we need is spots on radio programs. What we need is entire businesses that have absolutely nothing to do with philosophy or academia or religion of any kind, but they proudly display the fact that they are atheist or secular or freethinker or whatever it is, right? That's what we need on our side. We don't have that. We just don't. Like, what in the hell does a local dog grooming company have to do with Jesus Christ? I don't know, but Jesus Shaves is not a bad name for a mobile dog grooming company, you know?
No, it is not.
It's not bad. Like,
it's not bad.
It's pretty good. I don't feel like there is an obvious connection between the two, but
it's a good pun.
It is.
Yeah.
And they got a big ass cross on the side of their dog van as they drive around the city and cut people's dogs and tell them about how, you know, Jesus loves them or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that is what does it for so many people. That is what gets
you just see a Jesus fish in there. Like, there's a, I think it's a pest control company that is local. It's called The Good News. And they got a big old Jesus fish on their trucks. And I see it because it takes the same commute I do in the morning. And I see the truck every morning. And I'm like, it's so hard because also too, like, everybody knows a cross, but not everybody knows like the humanist symbol or like the atheist symbol or even like the sign. So like, it's not like you put a Jesus fish or a cross on something, it's automatically recognizable. Like, that's branding. It's kind of like McDonald's.
Yeah, that is something, you know, for sure. We just don't really have. There's a couple of there's a couple of things like you mentioned, the atheist, little a in the circle, and the
Yeah.
humanist little guy, little character
Oh, yeah.
thing. There's a couple of them that we have, but not to the same symbolism that they do for all religions. Actually, funny enough.
Yeah.
Like every single one of them has their symbols, and it's like you look at it and
Right.
you're just like, oh yeah, that's Hinduism. Like that's what they're talking about.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's crazy. But
I've seen people walk around with like their astrological signs on. Well, like my wedding band has me and my husband's when we were believe bullshit. But like I know, I'm like that person's a Virgo. Like,
exactly.
I don't.
And just we don't have that general recognition yet, unfortunately, and we can do more for that. There are again some symbols that we have, and it's worth at least throwing those out every now and then when we have the opportunity. But also just doing some of the things that the religious people do, but just better, like just better. Okay, so what I'm not saying, yeah, Jesus bleaches, absolutely. Wash away your sins. That's right. Get you
Jesus peaches.
But we don't need to go out there and force down people's throats non-religion or atheism or secularism or anything like that, right? But we should all start going out there more, as long as it's safe, by the way, as long as it's safe to do so. But we should start going out there and normally and casually discussing these things in the way that a good Christian, a good Muslim, right, would actually discuss these, right? A good believer, right? And we all know them. Like, let's not kid ourselves. We all have somebody in our lives that we know that is religious, and they're actually cool about it, and they're not a fucking dick, and they don't constantly try to make everything about Jesus. But if you ask them an honest question, they'll give you an honest answer, which is, well, my faith in Jesus Christ is what leads me to that, and hey, that's cool, man. Yeah, you do your thing. Those people, I promise you, like 90 some odd % of the time, those people are really secular. Those people are super, super on board with the separation of religion and government. They're super on board with the access to healthcare and medicine, and super, affirming of LGBTQ people. And I mean, just all kinds of stuff like that. So we need to do more of that. We need to be more vocal in saying, hey, I just don't believe in a God. I just don't go to church, man. You do your thing if you want. That's on you, but I'm just not going to go to church this Sunday, because that will help normalize it. That will help make it become a thing that, just becomes a household thing, just becomes something where, people just sitting around the dinner table just be like, yeah, atheists in general don't say that there isn't a God. Yeah, I know. They're just saying they currently aren't convinced. I know. How cool is that, man? Weird, right? Yeah. Muslims, by the way, they don't read the Bible. Yeah, got a whole different book, crazy
A whole different
one.
one.
Yeah, crazy facts.
So do the Jews. They have a different book.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So the Hindus. Yeah. Everybody's got a different book.
Some of them don't even have books,
Books. Like pagans don't have books.
That's right.
Pagans don't have books.
Yeah, I don't think the Rastafari do. I don't think they have like a.
I don't think they have it.
They kind of use the Hebrew Bible, but I don't think it's like, taken in the same.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I know.
I'm trying to think of. Like now I'm curious. Like what religions have holy doctrines? Like,
man,
that are in the like not in the top three.
Right, right, right,
Like,
right. Right, 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 right. Um, but yeah, I mean that's kind of that's kind of the gist of it. In general is I mean, you and I have been lucky enough now to be um volunteering and working in this space for years now. We've gotten
yep.
to do all kinds of things, meet all kinds of people, and participate in all, a lot of different sides of it. The back end side, helping out planning things, doing the grunt work the day of the event, and even being in front of the cameras, hosting the show and stuff. So it's like we've seen it from a lot of different lenses, and um, we've we've had the opportunity now to be here, I think, long
Mhm.
enough to recognize like where the spaces are that our community is lacking, you know and
Yeah.
there are spaces like we have to be cognizant of that on our side. We need to make sure that if we are interested in criticizing the other side and saying, here's where you do things wrong, well, we need to make sure that our fucking house is in order as well. Like, let's also
Clean your
do.
room, Jordan Peterson.
That's right. I mean, right? Come on. Let's make sure.
That's probably the only thing I agree with him on. I'm like, yeah, make sure your room's fucking in order before you start telling me to clean my fucking room.
Right, right,
Like,
right. But like that is something, we can easily do, I think. I don't think that's crazy difficult. And as we move forward, as we attempt to try and build similar spaces as the religious have had for a long time, my goal, and I think we can do this, we can build better communities because we know the exact behaviors, we know the exact practices that lead to these harmful spaces that so many of us have left. We know these patterns. Like, we're familiar with the bite model now, right?
yep.
So if we start building a space that engages in this emotional control of people, we start saying, hey, you shouldn't feel that way about this. You should be happy about that, whatever. Well, hang on now. That should be a big fucking red flag. That's a big red flag for us, you guys. We've already gone
Right.
through this before. So I think I think we really do have an opportunity um, in the next few years to put in place the foundations for a movement that will last the next couple of decades. I think if we are intentional about it, if we purposefully choose to work together as much as we possibly can to try to build as many bridges and mend as many fences as we can with our community and the people that are all pulling in the same direction, really, at the end of the day. If we can do that in these next few years, we can set ourselves up so that, and I know it's a little far off, you guys, okay? But just bear with me, okay? We can set ourselves up so that by 2040, 2050, our movement is so strong you can't possibly fight it. We have the opportunity to do something that big if if we just take it. We just have to be intentional about it. We just have to be focused on community, on building true thriving community. that is going to be the key, is a space where people are actively engaged and are interested in building together, right? Growing
Mhm.
everybody, right? Not just me, not just you, not just the stuff that I like, all of it, because we need all of it. We need that broad base. Otherwise, we can't build any higher, you know? Um,
Mhm.
that's why I love, for instance, Durante. I love where his head's at. I love how he's focused on this. And I'm excited
Mhm.
because we're going to be doing stuff together. We're neighbors. He's not far off over in like North Carolina area. They're trying to do a bunch of stuff in Raleigh and all this, and we're here in Tennessee. So we got real close connections right here.
Well, like over the the next couple of years, because if we're all on this coast,
Mhm.
I'm sure there's a central location for
Mhm.
all of us get together and stir some shit.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is, and we're working on that. I did
Because I
see.
think it's because the
Mm,
more that we're connected and the more that we're pulling from our resources, Clyde's asking for a mailing list. Well, get with me after the show, because I don't want to like do it here, but we'll like just bug us after the show, Clyde. I'll bring it. Whatever, we'll figure something out. But like, the thing is though, is that the more that we're all connecting with each other, then you meet people that aren't a far drive from you. Like if I can drive to you in a day, it's not that bad.
right,
you know
right, and if we
and then you spend a few days like organizing, planning, having
exactly.
events, and the more community that we're bringing together, then people also like if we're like all the interwebs going like, hey, we're doing this event,
Mhm.
please come see us,
Mhm.
and it lets people know that there's like a whole expanse of secular activists out there,
Mhm.
and people that want to build those communities out there for them to connect to. So,
Yes, and if you think about it, okay, there is little over 1 million, I want to say, people in kind of the middle, Nashville-y, greater Nashville-y area type shit.
mhm,
Um, we're about we're about 1 in 5 now. Pretty steady. The non-religious, the atheist, the agnostic, the skeptic.
mhm,
Um, that means that in this area alone, where I'm at, there's 200,000 people that have nowhere to go. There is 1 in 5 in this area finds themselves without a home when it comes to a place to meet people of like minds. That's where we're at. We have 1/5 of our people in this area that don't have community, just by definition, basically, because they're non-religious, because they don't fit into that category of going to a church. Now,
mhm,
that is not the number of people that believe in secularism. That is not the number of people that believe in the separation of religion and government. That number is a lot fucking higher. So, what do we do with that? How do we get those people working with us as well?
right.
That's a huge demographic. And
Yep.
unfortunately, we haven't always wanted to work with them because they're religious. And I get it. I get it. I understand. I understand. It is tough for me myself, you guys. Sometimes. Sometimes
I see you.
as
I
much as
see
I
you.
as much as I want to, I can't help myself. I just got to yell about how stupid the Bible is. I can't help it. I just can't. But but we need to remember that the majority of people in the United States of America who will go through public education are religious. the majority of people in this country that will need life-saving healthcare options, whether that's abortion, whether that is transgender care, whether that is uh, medicine for various mental illnesses, right? The majority of those people are religious. The majority of people in the queer category as a whole. There are more LGBTQ religious people in this country than there are non-religious queer folk. Don't know if anybody really thinks about that. But remember, 80%, 80% of this country is still in that boat of some religion. Now, our 20% is pretty damn big, compared to everybody else, like specifically the Presbyterians versus specifically, the Orthodox Jews versus specifically, so like our 20% is a good amount, but that 80 of the religious is absolutely still a huge, huge section. Yeah, I just want to say, Clyde, I've seen the demographics on this. I mean, if you have any other statistics better than the United States Census Bureau, bring it up, man. But overwhelmingly, the majority of people that fall in the LGBTQ category in the United States claim a religion for themselves. 100%. It just absolutely is the case. So, we need to get those
That
people
was
on our
weird.
side. We need to find a way to work with those people. So,
Well, is it religious or spiritual? Because like I knew when like in the pagan community, I knew of a lot of queer people that would identify as spiritual. Like they weren't Christians, but they
correct,
believed in like some like they believed in like reincarnation or
correct,
whatever.
correct. There is also a high proportion in that category that is spiritual, but no, religious. 80% of the people in this country are religious.
Okay.
Like you have to remember that. So yeah, I mean,
Well,
yeah,
and this is one thing that I've been kind of squawking about is that we have to be careful that we're not cutting off our noses to spite our face because right
absolutely.
now things are shitty. I tell everybody in case you haven't been paying attention, things are bad. They're shitty, and if we're not connecting, like I can, like I can debate with you about religion. I do that every.
Right.
Why do you think? Why do you think I volunteer for the ACA so I can debate with people? Give me a religious person. I'll talk. Hey, you want to have a discussion? We'll talk about your beliefs. But that being said, I don't want to do that all the time. And I do have to share space with people that have different ideas than me. This is why I should not have any sort of power because, well, okay, my utopia is going to look very different from your utopia.
Oh,
We'll be
sure.
aligned on a lot of same things, but there'll be a couple things where you'll be like, Helen, I want, taco trucks on every street corner
Right,
now, and
right.
I'll be like, Elliot, no, we have to have pizza trucks on every corner. like it'll be
I
something
feel
like
like we
that.
can make a compromise.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. So, but you're going to share space with people that don't think like you. They have a different worldview, even if they're like they're secular. They might have a completely different idea on another topic, political issue that you have. Regardless, if the person's a good person, like if I don't really care if you're a Christian, if that Christian is aligned with making sure like me as a queer person is safe and has rights, cool. But I'm talking to the atheists that doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
and they're out there. Fuck that guy.
Right,
I'm gonna hang out with a Christian.
right. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is something we have to be more cognizant of. Um, we have to work with the other side a lot more, because there is still so many people on that side. Like, for instance, just taking at face value, um, the Williams Institute there, Clyde. Like,
Mm.
still, you're talking about you're talking about clearly half of the group is undeniably religious, right?
I'm looking at
I
Pew Research Center.
Yeah, I would need to look into that further, just because every single year for the last 30 some odd years, that statistic has been a standard statistic. It's kind of like if somebody tells me, "Hey, did you know actually less than half of Jewish identifying individuals in the United States are not secular?" That would be very surprising to me, considering it has always been such a big shift on the other side. But
Oh,
either
this is
way,
old.
either way, in either space right there, right? Whether it is over 50% or right at 50%, right?
The current statistic is 46%.
Okay. And who is that from?
Yeah. This is from Statistica.
Okay.
But that was the most recent number. So it's been about the same for the past 10 years.
I will.
Because the one from Pew Research was right around there. It was 51% back in 2013. This is about 49, which you would expect because there's a decline. So that makes sense to me. But around 50, we'll say around 50.
Yeah,
Of queer people hold some sort of religious affiliation.
Yeah, and again, I would still be interested to look into those a little bit further.
Yeah, I'm just spotting off, like,
right.
the generality. Like, don't. I'm not a statistics person. Don't take my word as fucking gospel.
No, it's fine. Because either way, again, it's not like the difference is between like 20%, right? It's not like
no, this is like 46 to 50, like somewhere in there. Like, okay, cool. Like we're around there.
Right. It is still a massive group. And if you include the fact that, if you take into account the fact that the individuals in the LGBTQ identifying group, right, is already so much smaller, like that, the number is tiny that are on our side in that group, right, at the end of the day. And so truly,
right,
you still have a massive hill to climb. And we have to work with people that are not always entirely in our camp, right? Unfortunately, it just is the case where still most of the people in the world are religious of some stripe. And that's fine. But again, most of the people, at least in the United States, at least in a bunch of fairly good countries around the world that tend to line up with lots of things that people care about, like whether or not their people are alive and healthy and whether they're educated and have jobs. The vast majority of the people in these countries are secular. They do care about whether or not the country is a theocracy or a representative government of the people. They do care about laws. They do care about freedom. That's important to them. It is important to them that they have the right to go home and engage in their religious practices or not without somebody else telling them that they fucking can't. They think it is a bad idea, even for their own preferred chosen belief system. They think it is a bad idea for that to be taught as truth in public education alongside mathematics and history. I agree with those people. I agree. Those people are
my
right.
parents were those people.
Those are our people. Those are our people. And we have to get those people together. We absolutely have to, you know? Um, oh, hang on. I see. I just read the chat. I see, Clyde. You know what? I'm gonna give this one to you, Clyde. I'm gonna give this one to you. You're 100% right. You know what? I'm giving it to you. The majority of LGBTQ people are not religious. Just so that, yeah, I'm with. I see what you're getting at here. I'm with you. You know, I'm in a camp like that myself. It's uh, people in the South with long hair that are above 5'5" in height and below 6'2" in height. The majority of us in the South are also non-religious, but I think there's only like 12 of us, so I don't
There's
know. Yeah,
only
yeah, it's like
it's only like 12. You're all
it's
gathered
very few,
together.
very small group, very small group.
I told you that when I went to Pigeon Forge, I had like a it was so weird. It's such a weird place
Yeah.
in Tennessee because I've never been in Tennessee in my life. It was also weird being like near Dollyland, which is like a queer icon, and then around but bunch of like super conservative, like religious, like redneck
That's
fuckers.
really weird.
That was like,
That's
I'm
really
like,
weird.
we're and like Confederate flags are just up, and
Yeah.
I'm walking around going like,
Dolly
where
also gave some of her own damn money to Vanderbilt Medical
yeah.
to work on the vaccine. So, like,
Yeah, I know. I saw
take
that.
that
So
one.
it's
How
yeah.
awesome is
So I'm
that?
like,
Anyway.
there you go. So like, so but like Florida has its own. We're weird here too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, it has its own weirdness. We have pockets of progressiveness and like where the colleges are. There's a few handful of us, annoying queers kind of hanging around. Like, so it's around, but it's not. I live in a very red state in a very red county. But I'm not afraid to be out where I am right now. So um I feel comfortable. It might change,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And again, I don't ever want to tell somebody that they have to put themselves at risk.
yeah, and that's
I'm
one
never
thing that
gonna
I would say
do that.
don't do that
Right.
because I have a little bit of privilege.
Right.
So
I'm
good. But
lucky.
if you yeah, but if you like also I can pass a cis, like
Mhm.
I am cis, I am cis. I'm not pass. I am cis. So it's a little easier.
Yeah.
And I'm white.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know,
So, which sucks for other people that don't. But with my privilege, like like if you have a little bit of privilege, please like uplift some people that don't.
a good time to
They're
use
being
it.
really nice.
Yeah. It's a good time for us to use it.
Yeah.
Again, I'll say I never want to tell somebody that they have to put themselves in harm's way. I want people to be safe and secure emotionally, mentally, financially, all of that, right?
Yeah. Well, Miss Non Sequitur, all you can do is your best. As
Right.
long as you're doing your best,
Absolutely.
that's all we can ask of you.
Absolutely.
That's all. Like I'm doing my best. I think that's
Yeah.
what we're all doing.
Yeah.
You know.
And we one of the coolest things, I don't remember who it was that said it within the past like, couple of weeks, but I was hanging out with some people and somebody said one of the best fuck yous that we could possibly give right now is being around 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best protests you can offer in this moment is your survival. Not going away, not letting this be easy for the people that want to run roughshod over human rights and dignity, right? That's one of the greatest things we can do right now. And so for everybody that absolutely absolutely is not in a place where they are able to get out and be vocal, and I want you to know there's a lot you can do quietly,
behind the scenes, right? You don't need to be out there on the front lines. You don't need to be the one organizing the event, right? There is hundreds and hundreds of opportunities for you to help out completely anonymously, completely silently. And one of the things that you can do is monthly donations to organizations that are doing the good work, right? The people that are putting themselves out there on the
Mm-hmm.
front lines and are risking, you can help support them, because I promise you, a single dollar going to that organization is so incredibly meaningful right now. It is absolutely the things that are keeping these organizations in the black sometimes, right? Your $5 a month is what is making all the difference for these groups right now, okay? I will go ahead.
I'm gonna say one thing. Hey AJ, just so you know, Adam Sandler's sister used to be my dentist. so because he's from Manchester, New Hampshire, where I grew up, and he graduated the same year. A couple of my friends graduated from Central High School. They knew him personally. And I also went to the same high school as Seth Meyers, and his mom was my French teacher in junior high school. So
Cool.
weird, 7 degrees of bacon.
Yeah. No, that's nice. Yeah. So
that's always like whenever they bring up Seth Meyers or Adam Sandler, I'm like, hey, by the way.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool trivia about me.
Right. I will say this, okay? Because I said all that stuff about making sure that people are safe and telling people that there's a lot of opportunities, you can help out in ways where you don't have to put yourself out there and you don't have to risk stuff and so forth. And again, I never want somebody to put themselves in harm's way. I do, though. I want to say this, and I want to be serious about this, y'all. There's a lot of us that we know we can do something. We know there are things that we can do. We know we have the capabilities. We know we have the time, the money, the energy, whatever it is. We know that we can step up. And it doesn't have to be every damn day for 2 hours on your local Capitol steps or whatever. You don't need to be knocking on church doors on Sunday morning telling them that that's not what I'm saying. Okay. There's a lot of us out there. I know for a fact we can do something. I know we can. I know we have the abilities. I know we are secure. I know we are safe.
Mm-hmm.
And we have time. And I honestly, I am pleading with you all to do something. To do something. You don't have to do what I'm doing. You don't have to do what Helen does, right? You don't have to. There's a lot of things. Okay.
But if you do, you're 20% cooler.
That's true. It is true. It is true. Instantly. It is just science. It happens.
It's science.
But I have
But you
heard.
don't have to find your own thing.
I have heard though, okay? I have heard. Some people are saying that if you find your own thing, you instantly get at least 7.5% cooler. So
you will. It's a scientific fact.
Maybe not the full 20, but at least 7.5%. So that's big. That's pretty big.
Yeah. And I'm not going to force you. I'm not a cult leader. If you want to be as cool as me, great. If you don't want to, that's fine.
Right. If you choose to live, less than, that's on you. I can't force you to want to better yourself.
I'm too lazy to be a cult leader.
Right.
Like that requires too much organizing. Like I play, just a non sequitur thing.
Yeah.
I play Cult of the Lamb. If you've ever been a former religious person, highly recommend. and you're like a little sheep, and you're a leader of a cult, and there's a lot of work.
Wait, you're a sheep. That's a cult leader.
but you run a cult.
Oh, that's awesome. Is it?
It's so much fun, and it's adorable, and there's plushies. It's a whole thing. It's so cute. Yeah, it is, and you're like a part of like a demon, like you're a part of like a demonic cult, which is also really fun. But you're like fucking adorable, and you it's so cute. And also there, and like the bosses in the game look like eldritch horrors, so that's also super fun. So I highly recommend, like, if you want to play an adorable game that's funny, and you can know what it's like to be a cult leader and realize that it is too much work.
A lot of effort.
Dude, it is a lot of effort, because this is just a video game. I can turn it off. Like, if you're gonna indoctrinate someone to like worship you, you gotta like work at that.
Yeah, you do. You have to.
We can just do what we do and just say like, hey, you want to come over and eat tacos, and and organize, and we'll have a potluck and have a book club.
I think that's the easier way, personally.
Yeah,
I prefer that, but
I agree.
To each their own, right? Everybody, I don't really like shrimp, so whatever people want to do with their lives. But
I don't know. Like, it was really funny because like I had like a religious moment this morning. Me and my coworker were talking, and I said I had like an upset stomach and stuff, and I said I had shrimp, and I go, I don't think it was a shrimp. And then my coworker, who knows I'm an atheist, goes, are you going to have to give up shellfish? And I said, it is unclean. And I go, no, because I'm a dirty heathen.
That's right. That's right. Even though I don't like shrimp, I still, like, every so often will just eat shrimp just because it was in the Bible as like, don't do it. It's like just like I don't care. Go ahead.
No, you and I have had this conversation about like all these stupid rules, and like you just blaspheme for fun. Because I wear mixed fabrics. I'm wearing mixed fabrics right now. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like you
purposefully.
I bet you've talked to a woman when she's on her period.
Damn straight. Like,
did you check first?
Yeah, I absolutely. I plant two crops right next to each other just for the fuck of it. Not even good for the plants. Like, I just like to do it. I just every so often, just for fun. I'll just kind of be sitting around, like, won't even necessarily have anybody near me, just by myself, and I'll just kind of fuck the Holy Spirit. Just keep moving, just seeing, just testing it. I'm a skeptic. What am I supposed? I'm just checking every so often, right? Like, look.
Like,
let me.
I'm like, strike me down right now.
Right. Like, look, in my hand, right here, right now, in my hand, I have $40,000 worth of gold and silver coins. If I'm lying, strike me down right now, God.
Right. Yeah.
See, so far my tests keep
fine.
coming up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. People keep telling me I'm biased, and I'm like, I don't know. I keep trying.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I keep trying for God to appear. I'm like, fuck God. Fuck him and his fucking bullshit. Strike me down now, and he never does.
I try all of that. I try all of the stuff.
Yeah,
like,
it just doesn't happen.
Somebody gave me a long time ago. Somebody gave me this really detailed, method for how I can astral project. I was really excited for this.
I used to astral project, kinda.
Okay, so
I pretended I pretended I could.
So right. So here's the thing. I'm like thrilled by this. I'm thrilled by this opportunity. I'm like, oh my God, please, yes. Like I want to fly over my neighborhood and just look at shit, right? Just go look at that dog that keeps barking, and like why nobody ever apparently tells it to shut up. Like, it amazes me. For 2 hours straight, this fucking dog is just barking. Like where is the owners? It doesn't matter, but I just want to see it, right? I do the thing. I did it all. I fell asleep. Nothing happened. I woke up the next day. I was like, I didn't astral project. Tried it again. Really hard, dedicated, focused. Fell asleep. Nothing happened. I don't know, man. Like, maybe I didn't do it right, but I do all the things. I charge my crystals in moonlight. I shove them up my butt. I get nothing from it. It's just,
nothing?
I don't know. I don't
You
know.
just, listen,
Maybe
you're
it's a
just not
crystal.
doing it right. You don't
That's what it
believe in
is.
the astral projection enough
That's
for
what
it to
it is.
work.
Right.
You have, and you need to sacrifice enough goats. Like
That's it. Yeah. When I'm receiving energy from the moon through my perineum, I'm
right.
not I
Like,
don't believe in it enough, which is why it doesn't
right.
work, you know?
I thought that was sunbathing.
Well, there's that. I just
It's like
I just think people are just showing their buttholes up to the sky. I just think
Josh.
that's what it is.
So Josh Brolin did that like a couple of years ago, where he like like he, went in the sun and like spread his ass and did the perineum, and he got a sunburn. And I thought that was hilarious. Like he was so mad.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, why would you
I'm like,
ever?
really? One of the most sensitive parts of your body exposed to UV rays.
I just, it's so odd to me that at any point in time somebody had that statement, like they said it out loud in public to adults, and everybody else in the room was like, "Oh, yeah, that's a good idea." It's like, hey, so did I check to see if I did not actually, and that's my problem.
You should have checked.
I should have been grounded. I don't know if I was
Scott
grounded properly.
Scott said that you should be plugged in, SR.
Right. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Like, how do I, I don't know.
You're kind of like a Tesla, where you have to have a battery pack.
Oh, shit, is that it? God damn, that
Yeah.
sucks. Well,
Yeah.
I've been doing my homeopathic, water or whatever. So,
with like 2 drops of medicine, and then
like, I take celery and I soak it in the water for like a day or two, and then I take that water and I dilute it with lemon water, and then I dilute all of that just for weeks on end, and then it just
for weeks on end
basically tastes like water again. And that's how I know it's working, is when
exactly,
when all of the flavorings that I put in the water no
are
longer
gone
come through in the water. That's when I know that
that's more work, but the work, that's what makes it work.
Yeah, the homeopathy is really kicking in at that point.
It is like, this is the type of thing, though. Okay, so getting back to community, because I'm going to make this. I'm gonna join these two things together. Watch me do it. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so you get the person that believes in astral projection, okay, or that they're channeling aliens. I call them functional delusionals, and I used to be one, so don't judge. But at the same time, like how much leeway, like if you want this person, that like, do you give them as much leeway as like a Christian, that's plugged into a church and just believes in God, or if the person like really believes that they channel aliens and they're gonna bring the world to, I don't know, the age of Aquarius. like how much, like, where should our limits be, as far, in your opinion? Everybody's got their own limits, but like, what do you think our limits should be when we're because this is something we also have to think about,
right,
if we want to get plugged in.
Yeah, I think this is a very, very good question, and unfortunately not one that has a perfect answer. I'll just start off with that. Like, it's going to be a bit disappointing no matter what I say. No matter where we go from here, I can just let everybody know nobody's really going to feel satisfied, because in reality, I think that's true for a lot of these types of things, right? Like, for instance, we want criticism. We want people to be able to think critically about topics, right? But we don't want people needlessly bullshitting and arguing just for argument's sake,
Sorry.
Yeah. Hey,
Okay.
could be the wrong crystal. That's what I'm thinking.
That's right. You have to get the ones that are more phallic shaped and smoothed out.
Right,
Don't get the one with the ridges.
That's right. That's my issue.
Yeah, there you go.
But, no, I think.
Sorry.
I think
the
biggest.
Okay, I'm gonna stop being 5.
I think the line really at the end of the day comes down to harm, right? The likelihood for harm, period, the likelihood for greater harm, right, is more important than the likelihood of just standard harm. The immediacy of that harm. Is this something that's going to happen in 500 years? Is this something that's going to happen in 5 minutes? All of those things are part of the calculation, and it's not an easy one. It's not one that we can just have a a fill in the blank type script that we just use for every situation. I wish it was that easy. It isn't. But I do think there are some guiding principles that we can use, should use, and are using, honestly. I think the things that brought us in this non-religious space, in this free thinker, in this secular, atheist, agnostic, whatever kind of label like that. I think one of the things that we recognized about the spaces that we were in was the potential for harm, the potential for greater harm, the potential for immediate greater harm, the potential for long-lasting immediate greater harm, right? Like these things were things that made so many of us start down that path that led us to deconstruction, right? So that principle, just keep applying it. Just keep applying it. The person who believes that, like somewhere, we go somewhere after we die, but like what exactly it is, I'm not super sure. But hey, I just want to let you know, I do agree with all of the medical science for decades that indicates that affirming care for trans kids is undeniably the correct path, right? That person has a belief, technically, right? That first thing about the whole afterlife-y stuff, that is a belief that I think is demonstrably not true, right? But the likelihood for there to be immediate, long-lasting, catastrophic harm from that belief, a hell of a lot lower than the individual who may not believe that there's an afterlife, may not believe that there's a soul, shit, may not even believe Jesus Christ rose from the dead, but does have the belief that a creator deity formed the world in 7 days, and as part of that formation created humankind specifically with two immutable, unchanging, no overlapping, no spectrum, no gray area, man, woman, done. That belief, while also demonstrably untrue, just as the one about the afterlife, that belief has more likelihood for immediate, long-term harm, right? I mean, I think that is so clear that it doesn't even warrant the discussion who's on our team. The first guy's on our team, the second person isn't, right? Like, oh my gosh, easy peasy, easy freaking peasy. And so that's the line. Well, hey, SR, does that mean you're never going to talk to this person about their belief in the afterlife? Well, no, of course I'm going to. Like, probably, yeah.
Can we get trans kids healthcare first, and then we'll have that conversation?
Is that crazy?
Let's do that.
I mean, right? Is that crazy to say, hey, maybe we don't spend so much time arguing about the foundations of logic if we're all on the same side for abortion access and that gay people shouldn't be thrown in jail? I mean, can we just do that first? It's so weird to me sometimes. I mean, I get it. Like, again, I'm with you. I don't think ghosts are real. I'm pretty confident the Earth is a spheroid. Like vaccines work.
They went to Antarctica. We know it's a spheroid. The flat earthers went. We know.
We saw the sun 24 hours. Like you just can't do anything on this anymore, you know? But truly, we're in the boat where we have to have a coalition. We have to have a broad alliance with people that don't always 100% see eye to us, you know? Even in some shit that's kind of fucking dumb. Like, man, I'm just going to be honest. I don't want to spend too much time talking about whether or not Bigfoot's real. I just feel really confident that it's not the case. And I don't really need to like dispute that with anybody. Like, if there's a grown ass adult that fully believes the Loch Ness monster is a thing, like, whatever, dude. Like, have your fun.
That
Fucking fine.
that doesn't really affect me though. Like if you
Right.
believe Bigfoot, like I do think you're crazy. I like I'm just like, why do you believe Loch
Yeah, I
Ness
think
is
it's
real?
dumb.
Like,
But, like,
I
what
think
is
it's
that?
dumb. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, you believe in cryptoids, like whatever. Like,
And am I going to spend more time dealing with that than I am going, you know, in terms of pushing back against like putting up the 10 commandments in public schools?
yeah, I rather people just have their weird belief in Bigfoot
Right,
because they're
believe
not
in Bigfoot.
saying like
I don't give a
they're
shit.
not
Let's
saying
take
like
down the commandments.
believe with like
Right,
pictures of Bigfoot.
right. Like, I don't
Or
care.
if they did that, they're not making it like a religious movement and not trying to like pass laws, you
Right.
know,
If you
like
started doing that with your Bigfoot, then I'd have problems.
that's
If you
right.
started, you know, if you're out there telling me that leprechauns are real, and you know because you found one once at the end of a rainbow and you almost caught him, whatever, like, fine, that's cool, do whatever, dude. You're wrong. I'm just gonna tell you, you were wrong. That did not happen. I'm sure you had a wild experience, man, but
Are you on the best drugs?
man, right? Like, puff and pass. But I mean, come on, man. It's like, that definitely is not the thing that is going to prevent me from working with somebody. And there's a lot of other things like that, honestly. And it is so frustrating because unfortunately, I worry that we are often really good at spotting mistakes and not as good as being charitable and being forgiving of mistakes, like genuine mistakes, right? Like, I slipped up, I tripped, and I dropped the vase. I didn't intend for that to happen. And I am truly sorry that this vase shattered, right? The guy who's walking through the house carelessly, right? And you're like, hey man, please, could you just two hands on that vase? It's very fragile. And he's like, nah, fuck this, man. I don't give a shit. Drops it and just goes, oh, well, it was old anyway. Who cares? Like, that's a different story. That's a different person.
Right.
We have different things that we do in that scenario. But the person that legitimately spent 5 fucking hours cooking this roast, and as they are walking into the house, trip and it falls to the ground, this person is not a bad person. They made a mistake. An accident occurred. We have to figure out a way to make sure that there is a path for those on our side that mess up, that do the wrong thing every now and then, because it will happen. Even with the best intentions, it will still happen. And it is so upsetting to see time and time again, person after person, that undeniably does not match up to the standards that the religious claim they care about, claim exclusively this good nature comes from their side. They say only us can ever act this good, right? That's it. And yet they repeatedly welcome in
beg to
people
defer.
that don't. Right. I mean, right. We see it on a regular basis.
I get quibbles.
It is all the time. It is blatant. It is disgustingly hypocritical. They do it day in and day out. And the worst part, is the people walk through the doors and they are welcomed with applause. Their donations increase. They get bigger facilities, more staff. This is what happens. Now, please, before anybody thinks I'm telling us to just throw our fucking principles out the window, that's not what I'm saying. There are a lot of bad people out there in everybody's group. I can think of a couple of them on our
the one
side.
There's 4 things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, change, and assholes.
Yes, right. I mean, right? Like, and so there are people, right? Again, they're not sincere. They're not apologetic. They're not genuine. They do not care. They enjoy the harm. They love it. Different story. I'm not talking about those people. Right? They're not in our camp. That's fine. There are people who make mistakes, who have done things wrong. There are people who, despite the best intentions, are still ignorant of things, just like we all are, and don't realize it until they put their foot in their mouth. That happens, man. We gotta make sure we don't cut those people off. We gotta make sure that we have a space for that group to be welcomed back in. Because without that, we are going to continue subdividing ourselves to the point of irrelevance. And I hate that. I don't want that. I want us to be successful. I want to see progress continue. I am deeply distraught because it feels like we're doing that, bringing back all the hits thing, like polio. You remember that?
Measles.
That one swept the nation. Everybody was digging on that for a while. Like that. What's that thing? Oh, what is it? Oh, the KKK. Like Nazis. Like these motherfuckers. Like we're bringing back all of the worst parts.
We're not making America great again, everybody.
Right.
I'm just letting you all know.
Right. We are bringing back the worst parts of humanity. We are bringing back the most atrocious things that we supposedly threw in the trash.
We all had a talk. I thought we were all like the KKK. We were all like, not those guys.
They're not good. Like they're not good, right? Like
the people that made Germany really bad in the 1930s and 40s, like the new ones.
They're bad.
We had a talk, and we were all like, "Those people are bad."
we were on the same page for a while.
Yeah.
There was this thing. We were moving along, and even look. Even on some sides of it, there were these people that weren't on board. They weren't real big fans, right? They may not have 100% agreed, but they at least weren't out there actively fighting against it, right? Like there were some people who they were like, well, I see, there are 2 men raising a baby. And it's like, you're not a fan of that. That's interesting. Wow. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, they are gay. They've been that way for a while now. Got a kid, doing great, about to start 6th grade or whatever. Cool kid, super active in sports or whatever. Like, but okay, I guess you just don't like gay people, that's strange. But we were moving along.
It's very weird. Like, this is one thing I don't understand. It's like, why do you care? Like, how does this affect you? Please tell me. Because okay, I get like as a queer person, I can think of plenty of people all across genders and sexualities of people I don't want to think about having sex. I just don't. But I don't want to make laws against it.
Yeah. And it's very funny to me too how people don't don't seem to see the overt sexuality on the other side.
Mhm.
It's so weird to me. Two men will hold hands for about 30 seconds on screen,
Mhm.
and I'll hear that the agenda is being pushed. We have 10 whole minutes of this couple fucking.
Right.
Nobody talks about any agenda. It's like
Oh, I got confronted by a bigot a few months ago, like
Oh.
because I had a rainbow sticker on my car, and he said I was pushing the agenda because I had like a Equality Florida thing on my car, and I have like some feminist shit because I'm me, and I was like. And then he was just all angry because he's telling me I'm pushing the agenda and I'm trying to indoctrinate children. And then he goes, "Are you a parent?" And I go, "Yes." And he goes, "Are your kids queer?" I go, "One is and one's not." He's like, "Of course they're queer." And then like I was just like, my dude, like I did. I called him bigot and yelled at him because I will call him like I see him. But he said like, well. He said like, well, this was his exact words. He said, well, I have a dick and I like pussy, so I should be able to see what I want, like, but you don't see me pushing that. And I'm like, dude, we see it all the time.
First off,
It's
yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah,
It's everywhere.
George Carlin, okay, talked about this a long time ago in the very famous bit, "The 7 words you can't say on television." Because one of the words in that list, of course, is fuck.
Right.
And he does this whole bit at the end where he goes through the list. And this was after he had, put out the initial sketch, and a couple of people had talked to him and all this stuff. And he goes through and he says, actually, there are other words that should be on this list. Some people have said fuck shouldn't be on this list. And I thought about it for a minute and I thought there's another F word that should be on this list instead, possibly. Fart. Because especially at the time, right, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, he said, look, you watch a TV show, they joke about fucking, right? They'll straight up mention fucking, right? They're doing their taxes, right? They're playing hide the pickle or whatever. There all kinds of different references to fucking. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of different references to fucking. They won't mention farts. They won't bring it up. They won't even suggest that someone could fart in this moment. The entire cast is eating chili, and not a one of them farts in the entire show. That's crazy. They won't broach the topic at all. We constantly talk about heterosexual sex. That it is one of our most favorite topics. We are constantly telling little boys and girls, when are you going to find a boyfriend or girlfriend? Oh, you're so pretty. I bet all the boys and girls are coming after you. All of that shit. What do you think children's pageants are? I mean, it is fascinating to me that anybody would ever try to defend that is not sexualizing children. It's like, hey,
but that gender affirming cure is okay.
So,
right. And these sort like for people, which is another thing that's kind of fucked up. I'm like, okay, so like hormone blockers are grooming, but making a 9-year-old dress up like a 30-year-old, that's okay.
Right. And
getting teeth whitening and tanning and nails and hair. I'm like,
they're dancing to the Robin Thicke song "Blurred Lines."
Yeah. Which is not the best song. It's not the best song.
What are those lines and why are they blurry? You know,
Mhm.
like another interesting song here. Another interesting song. A group of talented individuals that took the world by storm a few years ago. Drop It Like It's Hot.
Mhm.
A 6-year-old twerking to Drop It Like It's Hot. What do you think that message is that's being sent here? What do you think it's wholesome family values? Now here's the thing though. Here's the thing though. I
Mhm.
do think, unfortunately, it is promoting biblical values of sexuality, but I still think it's fucking gross because the Bible promotes pedophilia. Like, that's not on me, that's on the holy book. Like, I can't. you know,
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
so like I mean it's they want a Christian nation. I mean it technically fits. It's just gross. Did you know this is really upsetting, by the way, too. Did you know in the United States there are child marriages that happen that are sanctioned by the government on a regular basis? There are tens of thousands that occur that our federal government sign off on every
Yeah.
year.
Mhm.
It's really gross.
It's
If
terrible. When we did the nonprofits, we were talking about child marriage
uh-huh.
in Africa, and then we started talking. I was like, let me throw out some statistics, everybody. It's
Bum some
fucked
people
up.
out. Bum some people out because here's the reason why they have the loophole. Now, just so we're all on the same page real quick. Just make sure we're all on the same page. In the United States, technically, you don't have to be 18 to be married. You can actually be a couple of years younger, and consent from parents, and there are extenuating circumstances that may not be terrible, right? All of that being said, if you didn't catch all the couching I was doing right there, in general, you can't marry somebody that's under the age of 18. You can't do it. You just can't do it. You can't be married. You can't marry other people. And I think that's good. I just want to say that. Anybody is not on board this train still at
Yeah, if
this
you're
point?
not on board with that, I got
Right,
questions.
right. We have a
I got
lot
so
to
much.
discuss, right?
We
Like
have so much to discuss.
you don't have to continue listening to this story. Let's just talk about why you're not on board anymore. But here we go. So, in the United States, federal law can't do it. Just can't happen, right? But there is a religious exemption. Let me say that again, just so that everybody's clear. In the United States, it's against the law federally to marry a child unless your religion dictates otherwise. Think about that. It's not the only place that that's the case. Want to hear some other ones? It's terrible. For instance, sexual assault reporting. Organizations are bound by law in a lot of cases to report various criminal activity that is occurring, either on their premises, by their staff, by their administration, by members that attend their events. Unless you're a religious institution. Want to know another place? Genital mutilation. Think about that one. Because it gets worse. Of minors. It's illegal in the United States and a shit ton of other countries, just in case anybody's wondering. There's a shit ton of other countries. It is illegal in the United States to mutilate a child's genitals. You can't do it. You're not allowed. It's against the law. Except for religious exemptions. Except for religious exemptions. Damn right.
It's insane. It's like when you and I think the thing that's so frustrating is that when you try to, they say like, well, I want to have religious exceptions for this, but the thing is, though, is like federally, you can't marry a child. Good thing. I don't think you should get religious exceptions to meet a child, because that goes against, guess what, church and state, by the way, because the state has to sanction it.
Yeah. Right. You can't get you cannot go to the government and say, hey, I understand that you're not a big fan of this whole forced labor thing. Some call it slavery. But my religion says it's actually cool. So I'm just going to do it anyway. You don't get to do that. For obvious and very good reasons, right? Again, if you're getting off the train at this station, give me a call any fucking time. I have lots to talk about with you. If you're out there thinking to yourself, like, I don't know, man.
Listen, if anybody out there is, if you're subscribed to my channel and you think it's okay, please unsubscribe.
Right,
do
right.
not come here.
Right. You don't even
We
have
are
to
not
comment.
aligned in our values.
If you try to go to the
Shocking,
government,
I know that I'm not okay with slavery.
if you try to go to the government and say,
unless it's a kink thing, I'm not okay with slavery.
But that's, right, that's totally different. Totally different.
That's a totally different thing.
Totally consensual.
That's agreed upon.
Right.
That is
Which,
consensual.
In that case, maybe hit us up. But
there's going to be an orgasm somewhere, so it's going to be a good time. But I'm just talking about like owning people in general.
Right.
Don't do that. It's gross. It's bad. It's a
bad
very bad look.
Right.
We got rid of that 200 years ago. Just
Right.
we'll stick with that.
Right. Let's keep that one in the past. Yeah. If you're nostalgic for the slavery days.
Nostalgic for slavery.
Yeah. Oh, it was so much. It was like, oh,
it was so much better.
Got a lot of problems. You can't do that. You can go up to the government and say, I want to murder this guy. He says, thank you, Clyde. You're right. You're correct.
That's right. Sorry.
That's right. You don't get to go up to the government and say, I want to murder this guy. Right. And then they go, oh, no, you can't do that. That's crazy. And then you'd be like, but my God. Right. And they go, oh, shit. Yeah, our bad. Like, we'll actually pay for the knife. Like, no, that doesn't happen. You don't get to go up to the government and say, hey, despite all these laws about being honest or whatever when it comes to like selling products,
honesty,
I'm just going to outright lie to people about what this water is and does. And you're just going to look the other way, right? Old Uncle Sam, old pal. Like, no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to say that shit. And we shouldn't allow it in these other scenarios. It is outright nonsensical, completely fucking ridiculous that we would allow that. Just the same, by the way, as it is completely fucking ridiculous that we ever allowed a private business in the United States to say, I'm not going to provide services to somebody because of their sexual orientation. It's like, wait a second, you're open to the public. We decided this years ago. This was settled a long time ago. You don't get to have a restaurant in this country and actively put a fucking sign on the front that says no blacks and Jews. You can't do that. I don't give a flying fuck what religion you are. That is something that is antithetical to the United States of America. You are un-American if you were asking for that. That is a core principle that we have repeatedly fought for in this country. You do not get to say that. You don't. And I understand that may bum some people out. And you know what?
My heart bleeds for you.
Let me tell you this.
I'm so sorry for you.
Yes. Just as it is well within the rights of our government and the citizenry of this country to prevent you from going at breakneck speeds on roads where children play. Just as it is well within our right to do that, it is well within our right to shut down and prevent a business from doing work if they are openly violating the law. Undeniably. Undeniably. That is crazy that anybody would ever say otherwise. But this is the world we're in, folks. This is unfortunately, for whatever fucking reason, the timeline that we apparently are in. I know
It's Stern's fault.
I
Stern's
wasn't
fault.
positive. I wasn't positive for the first month. I pinched myself every morning.
Yeah.
It didn't work. I am still here. And just like earlier, I'm going to tie this back in like you did, you know, because we
Yeah,
can
we have to turn it all around, baby.
because we had this planned from the beginning, Helen. We were on our
did.
shit 100. We knew exactly where we were going with this, which is
That's
why
right.
the next thing I'm going to say is
We're
even
sharing the
though-
same brain cell tonight.
We're just swapping. You can't
It's
see us.
fun.
We're
We
tossing it
bonded.
back and forth. Yeah, off camera. But this is why we need to get active. We need to get working in this next year. I know it's going to be tough. I know a lot of us are going to feel very deflated, very depressed, very demoralized. A lot of the D words, right? A lot of that shit. I get it, you guys. We have to find a way to keep going. We have to. Because we cannot let the erosion of progress continue. All of the rights that we are so lucky to have right now, they were hard fought. And it took a long time to win them. It wasn't as if somebody just woke up in 1920 and was like, yeah, wouldn't it be cool if women could vote? And then somebody just turned around and just signed some papers and then it happened. It was a concerted, organized effort for years. And we need to do the same thing. And we have that opportunity. We really fucking do. And I am thrilled because there are already some really incredible chances for us to get together. Like there are, a dozen different conferences that are happening throughout the year, right? All over the country. Wherever you are, I am positive there is something that is just a stone's throw away from you like that, okay? There is also an outrageous number of medium-sized and smaller organizations that are in this space with us, that are doing the needed work right here, right now. And we need to support them. We need to get out there and we need to put ourselves in a space where we are showing up and we are letting people know that they are not alone and that there is a path forward. Any one of us that has any fucking capacity whatsoever, we have to work together, okay? And for everybody else out there that does not have that capacity, is not in that space where they're like, yep, I'll be at the monthly organizational meetings and I'll fill out the spreadsheets and I'll, talk about the color schemes and all of that. If you're not in that space, that is freaking K. I completely understand. What I want to tell you is don't go anywhere. Don't disengage entirely. Okay? Don't leave. There's a lot of people here and we're working on shit. And you may not be in a space right now where you want to be on the front line holding a sign and protesting and yelling through a megaphone and stuff. I get that. Right? Shit, you may not even be at the place where you really want to, sit down and like argue with people and just even push back on it. Like you may not be feeling that. What if we just get together and just hold space with each other? Just share a meal and just commiserate together for a little bit and just let each other know that we're here if we need anything. We can all use some of that. There's
Hmm.
a lot of spaces for stuff like that. So if you're not already connected, please get connected with something, with anything. If you're anywhere close to Tennessee, within a few hours, check us out. Connect with Secular Rising US. Find out about all the different stuff that we've got going on. We're building on this. I'm excited to see where this goes. I think long term we have a really awesome moment right now. And I think with the right focus, we can make a lot of really good shit happen. I really do think that. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take some time.
Anything that's worth doing is never easy.
Absolutely, though. Absolutely. And it's taken us years.
Unfortunately, because we're lazy, but
Well,
now
yeah.
now we're forced to do shit.
Hey, you know what? I'm okay with that.
Because I want a future where people don't have to do shit.
Right? How cool would that be?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be better if we could look back on the world 20 years from now and say, my God, how far we have come? I would love it. But, again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, y'all. It's going to take some money. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some work. We're going to probably have to send out a lot of emails, call people back, check back in 2 weeks. We're going to have to make some graphics, get those graphics approved, fix this, change that, all the shit. It's a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff ahead of us, okay? But that's great. This is awesome because there are so many of us that have these skills, that have these abilities right now and are desperately looking for an opportunity to utilize them. There are so many of us right now that are wanting an opportunity to grow and learn in new ways, in new spaces. And there are those chances right here, right now. I guarantee you, if there is a local group in your area that is in the non-religious secular space, I guarantee you have some skill that you can offer that will be beneficial. Doesn't matter what it is. There are so many things that are needed on this side. So get involved. Find somebody. Find something.
And it doesn't have to be like what we do. It can be like donate $5.
Insane.
If they're having like pick up trash on a street day,
man,
you can go pick up trash on the side of the street. You can help out at the potluck and wash dishes. Like you don't have to do the same things that because
right.
every little bit helps, because some people can't be face forward, but they want to help out in their own way. So find the way that you can help out.
Yep. And there really is so many opportunities. And I do hope that as this year goes on, and we're doing more things with our group and we're working with other groups and peoples, and I hope we can spur more people to have that same kind of fire, that I see in so many of the awesome people that I know, right? That that drive to get out there and just fucking do something, anything, whatever the hell it is, just get your hands in it and just work, and in part that was kind of why we really liked the name Secular Rising, is because just like a rising tide, not only will we lift all boats, but we'll be unstoppable. I really do think that's in our future. I really do think we have that opportunity. So I'm just absolutely thrilled to be able to get out and to hang out with people and talk with them and just share this and just try to get more people involved. Just try to get more communities that are out there that have been out there doing good work, try to get them more attention, get more people connected with them. I want 2025 to be a year of connection where we find we have more people in our backyard, more groups in our area, more bridges being built, more in common with our neighbors and our friends and family than we ever thought fucking possible. That's what I want. And I really do think there's a lot of good reason to believe that's possible. And not just possible, but likely, you know? Like, I think we've got some really good evidence that indicates this is what we need to get us to that next step, that next space, you know? And I'm just thrilled because I feel like as I keep going out there and as I keep talking with more and more people, everybody else is kind of feeling this too. It kind of feels like, you know, a lot of people were having this in the back of their head, you know, for a while, and they were like, gosh, what do we do? How do I get out? How do I, you know, how do I, and now it's just like, yeah, we've all been thinking about it enough, and you know, we put some ideas down on some paper and we revised those ideas and we sent them off to some people and they double checked and then we changed it, and let's make some shit happen now. You know, we're in that space. So I'm glad that there's a lot of people already doing a lot of great stuff. So if you're not already super connected and plugged in, this is your year. This is your time. Do it. Let's you know, let me help you.
Be super annoying.
Right.
You want to be super annoying. Like make a stink.
Right.
Make a positive stink.
We are not going away. We are not done with this fight. It's not over. And if you agree with any of that whatsoever, if you plan on being around in the next few years and you're not going to be fucking quiet, cool. We got some stuff for you. We got some opportunities for you. So hit us up, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, because like, you know, just like it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to stir some shit up.
Absolutely. But when we do come together, right? When we are all pulling in the same direction, we can literally move mountains. I mean, we can do it.
Well, God said we could.
Well, you know, I mean, you know, hey, we let the secular Christians pray.
That's
we let the secular atheists protest. I don't care, just as long as we all together working for the same shit, man.
Right? It's like, if we'll make the mountain move.
That's right, baby. That's right.
All right.
We'll do lectures and you know,
I will lecture and
y'all do sermons
and share, give money and time and
That's
whatever. Right. Come on my podcast and talk about shit. That's what I do, and I'm gonna get plugged into my local community. I'm going.
It's work.
I like meeting people online. I'm from all my exuberance. Okay, so SR, what you got coming up? I put the link in for Secular Rising into the chat and the doobly doo. I also put your link tree in the doobly doo. People want to be your friend.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, are you talking about on Facebook, Clyde? If so, just send me a message. On Facebook.
You guys can connect if you become friends on Facebook, and then you guys can work out how you want to connect with the Secular Rising and what Clyde's doing.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
So to hit me up is on.
Yeah, Facebook. This is what I was telling you about before the show. I'm going to be on Clyde's thing next week to talk about Carl Sagan's Demon Haunted World.
That's right.
Yeah, that was what I was telling you about.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Sydney, cool. I'll check it right after this, man. Yeah. I guess I'm looking because I always have something, you know. But so we do.
You're everywhere.
Yeah. There is
put in Secular Rarity into your YouTube and his stupid face pop up. That's
yeah.
same with me. Put my name and my stupid face will pop
You'll
up.
find me somewhere. Most recently, coming up, I am going to be hanging out with Durante Lamar. He is doing like a 10,000 subscriber event, which is so freaking awesome. And there's a couple of other really cool people that are going to be there as well. So if you don't know about
I'll
what
pull
his
that
channel
up
is
and
and
put it
stuff, yeah,
in the chat.
find that for sure. You're gonna love that. That's this Friday. We're gonna be hanging out. I'm really thrilled again. I really hope we can.
Durante's
we
a
can do
shit.
a bunch of stuff. Yeah, he's a really cool guy, and I'm glad that he is.
Also, gives the best hugs.
Oh, really? See, I haven't met him in person. Yeah,
I met him at the RFR excursion this year, and
man.
he is a big old sweet potato, and he's a good hugger. So
well,
big old sweet potato.
Other than that,
and can sing, and he also has an amazing singing
really?
voice. Yeah,
okay.
he can sing.
Oh, that's the gift of Jesus right there.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm going to be hanging out this Thursday. We're doing our live event again, Conversation Coalition. If you're in the Nashville area, come hang out with us. East Nashville Beer Works. We'll be the ones that are arguing about aliens and Jesus and all that shit. But yeah, otherwise, just I don't know. Go check out Secularizing US. Go check us out on all the socials and stuff. We got some videos and some other things up there. So yeah, come hang out with us, y'all.
Yeah, do that thing.
Yeah.
So what I have coming up, let me pull up my schedule, which I closed out of like a ding dong because I'm a professional at this. Anyway, so this Thursday, I have Stephanie Mendez, who is a friend of mine from RFR. She's going to talk about choosing the right path. Next Thursday, I have Nick Sauter on. I don't know what he's going to talk about it. And then the 13th of March, I have John Gleason, Godless Engineer on. So that's what I have coming up. So if you would like to be on my podcast, email me here. You just got to be a secular free thinker. You don't have to be a content creator. You don't have to be an activist. If you just want to come on and you got a topic you're burned and talk about, as long as I don't go, no, let's not talk about sports. Because I don't know anything about sports. Please do that. So do that. Please subscribe, ring bells. I do the same thing every day. You don't really need to ring a bell. If you're here on Thursday, I don't ring bells because I hate alerts, but I do and I do subscribe. So do that. Share. Follow me on the socials, as well. Though most of you already are, so that's fine. And that's it. So everybody have a really great thing till Thursday. Usually I say a week, but I'm gonna be back here on Thursday. Give someone a compliment. Be kind. Make it stink. Make a bigot, mad. Upset a bigot. Do something like that. And I will see you all on Thursday. Good night, everybody. Bye.